Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Welcome in tonight. My name is Dana, and we fixed the drop frames, we think. We say things all the time like, hey, we fixed the audio, but then it actually takes us 2 more times. But we really do think we fixed the drop frames. I am here tonight, as always, with my part-time dishwasher and currently dog wrangling Rocky, who just knows when we go on the air and is like, give me attention. So Rocky is not the tech guy. So, Rocky the Velociraptor, who is currently chewing on Robbie's hand. So that's good. And then Otis is just sleeping. He's just sleeping. He doesn't even care anymore. He's like, whatever, if you're going to give me treats, I'll wake up. So, hello, Fallen Age. Welcome. And of course, I'll say this again later when hopefully there are, just to make sure everybody knows, Fallen Age can't do this without her either because she is a wonderful moderator. So tonight we are going to do some fall flavors. Woohoo! And, because now you're seeing all of the different squash in the grocery store. And I love fall food. I love food. Let's just face it. I just love food. Anyway, tonight we're going to make a pork loin with apples, and then with like an apple not vinaigrette, but like a gravy on it, apple cider. And then we're going to do a garlic parmesan, butternut squash puree, and a pumpkin cheesecake. So buckle up. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. So how are you guys doing? How is everybody else doing out there? I am going to start by getting the butternut squash into the oven because we need it to cook for about 45 minutes in the oven, and we're going to be using the skin, but not the seeds. So what we want to do, and this would be so much easier with a cleaver, but I'm going to try to do this to you here, Rocky. He's amusing himself, which is awesome. All right, I didn't do a very good job of cutting this in half, but since we're not going to be making anything pretty with it, like sometimes I roast it and put like rice or quinoa or something on the inside, this would not look very pretty for that, but here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out all those seeds because we don't need those. We just need the skin and the flesh on the inside to get into the oven. What's funny is that I did not grow up eating butternut squash. We didn't even eat sweet potatoes. We ate potatoes. And I don't even remember my mom making like zucchini or squash, like yellow summer squash or anything like that. So this is something that kind of came later in my life to eat. Our fall foods, my parents like to barbecue, so we grilled and barbecued all the time with foods. And my mom would make like pot roast. That was kind of the fall thing until we got to Thanksgiving and Easter. But I loved like having something different so that you're not just having potatoes all the time, because I love potatoes. We used to make, for 4 of us, like 6-7 pounds of potatoes at a time. This is a pretty simple dish as far as ingredients go. What's going to happen is we're going to put this with olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, and Parmesan into the oven, and then we're going to add Parmesan when we puree it, but that's it. You just had zucchini for the first time in your life. Hi, Flashbang. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm Dana. It's funny because when we grow up certain ways. Oh, Rocky is getting in trouble. Can you hear him? He's about to get into trouble. Robbie's going to take him outside. I don't know what that means for Rocky. But the dog wrangling is happening right now. So we're going to take a tablespoon or 2 and kind of rub our butternut squash down. And then I'm going to get some garlic, and just stick it on the inside of the butternut squash. I have now got olive oil everywhere, but I love olive oil. So Rocky will eat anything, because we always like to say he's half Maltipoo, half Velociraptor, and half goat. So he might eat squash, but I think really earlier he was trying to get the pork loin off of the counter, because he's a little bit crazy. And this is calm, believe it or not. He used to be a lot crazier. Oh, I hope if I just randomly just fall down in the middle of the kitchen floor, it's because I worked with a personal trainer for the first time in 8 months or something today. And he kicked my butt. It was terrible. But also great. But, just not nice. And his name is Money. All right, so this will end up being about a couple of tablespoons. I don't know if you've watched around Flashbang. Is it, Flashbang? But a lot of times when I'm cooking, I don't measure stuff. But I would say you could go with a couple of not teaspoons, but a couple of tablespoons of parsley for this. Next year, I'm going to maybe try and grow some parsley myself in my garden, but I didn't attempt that this year. Oops. Forgot my scraper. So I'll just kind of sprinkle that over here and on the inside. And that is exactly what it is for me. Like when you are baking, you got to get the ingredients right. Otherwise, you'll end up with flatter cakes or things running out of control, or they'll be too dense, or there's a science to cooking too, like savory things, but a lot of it is to taste, right? I love garlic. So a lot of dishes I add extra garlic in it because Robbie and I love garlic. So pie crust, definitely. It's really not difficult. It just takes practice. Because, again, it's one of those things that's pretty simple. As far as ingredients are concerned, it's like 3, maybe 4. And I have a really good recipe from my grandmother that my cousin actually has perfected a little bit over the years since she started baking pies. So I get tips from her because she's really good at that. Which is weird. I never thought of her as a pie person. So you measure garlic with your heart when cooking. That is banana alligator. That is the perfect way to measure garlic. I'm with you on that. I may have to use that. I'll put that in my recipes. Measure the garlic with your heart. My heart says 5 cloves. Yours may say 3 or 8. I love that. So I haven't seen the two of you in chat before, both Flashbang and Banana Alligator, but thanks. I'm so glad that you are here. And I can tell you a little bit about myself. I'm not like a trained chef or anything. I just grew up in a household with 2 really good cooks. Now, my grandmother, my family, that side of the family was German. And so a lot of the cooking that I grew up with was German. So a lot of the foods that you see in the grocery stores and stuff now just weren't like the squash, like we were talking about, isn't really something you saw too often in the German cooking. But when it comes to things like sauerkraut and Wiener Schnitzel, my grandfather was actually from Germany. He was from an area called Dusseldorf. So I don't need to chop this too small, only because we're going to put that all in a blender later. So we just want to put it on there so some of that flavor gets into the butternut squash and we have more garlic flavor. Yummy. You're normally a lurker? Ooh, yeah, that turned out really good. Oh, good. So hopefully, I have been really, really, really bad at this. But when I first started streaming, I was really good about posting the recipes on social media. So what I will try to do is I will try to get those up on the Instagram, which then posts also to my Facebook page, and try to get those recipes up for you because they were really good. And Robbie doesn't really like bourbon, but I think you really like that bourbon chicken, the bourbon pecan chicken. Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. You have a great stroganoff recipe. Yeah, I grew up with stroganoff is one of the things I ate too. But probably not the traditional way of making it. But maybe it was. I try all different things. So I like using basic recipes like at Thanksgiving. I do use the recipes I grew up with for my grandmother's dressing in particular. And we have just a family joke about the cranberry sauce, which is every year it was kind of like, we would call around, and one of the things you always asked on Thanksgiving was, did your cranberry sauce gel? Because people lived at all different altitudes. And some years your cranberry sauce just wouldn't gel, and you'd have really more of a sauce than the gelled. So, all right, that is a lot of garlic, so we're going to have some good garlic flavor in there. Excellent. I'm going to put this, after I get all the sticky garlic stuff off of me, in a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes. And we'll check it and see if it's cooked, because this is a pretty big butternut squash. Squash. I don't know what, like Sasquatch? Was I thinking of Bigfoot there? Maybe? Whew. We finally got our IRL backpack today, now that we're not on the road for 2 weeks. So now we'll have to figure out what to do with it so that we can so that we can use it. Because we were hoping to, take you guys with us when we were doing some fun things, sightseeing, walking down the beach, that kind of thing. But maybe we'll find some things here in the Dallas area that are food related, like I was thinking there's a place here in Dallas called the Katy Ice House, which actually used to be an ice house, or there used to be ice houses along the railroad, so that's why it got its name, for the trains to stop and fill up with ice to keep things cold in the trains. And they've got a nice trail down there with trees, and we could go down there and get some exercise.
Well, hopefully by the time I figure out how to work it, we'll know.
And work it. And then they have barbecue at the Katy Trail Ice House, and of course, very, very cold beer, so it's great. Oh, good. And the post in the Mech Lounge Discord. So yeah, so I do post some of the pictures in there, and then I also have a Discord as well for Dana's Kitchen. So I think Robbie will put that up. So if you want to join over there, because I'm thinking, I'm like always 8 steps ahead of myself. But what I would like to do sometime this month is do a cook-along. But I won't be doing anything this complicated for the cook-along. I'll make sure that the first one we do is a little more simple, and then we'll see how people feel and go from there on that. So there you go. All right. So the next thing, I keep debating whether to start the pork loin or to start the cheesecake next. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do the pork loin next. I forgot to put salt and pepper on the, hang on. Let me go put salt and pepper on my, he's going to put an oops thing that I messed up, I'm sure. It's like he enjoys it when I mess up. So all I'm doing is putting salt and pepper on these. With a pinch of, like one of my pinches, not one of Robbie's. Robbie's pinch is literally salt in between two fingers.
It's a pinch.
That is not a pinch. Not in the cooking world. All right, there we go. Have you been to Hard 8 in the Dallas area? Yes, been to Hard 8 multiple times. There's one that's not too far from here because there's several of those. And that is really, really good. The Katy Trail Ice House is just something a little different on a trail. And when their barbecue is out, they're out. They don't have any more for the day. And we have another place nearby that's really great, feed store. And then what was the place in Louisville that was so good? Do you remember the name of it? There was a hole in the wall in Louisville, and it was so good. But unfortunately, they just got their liquor license, so our beer won't be free there anymore. Yeah, it's really good. That is good barbecue at Hard 8. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to pull my... Did I already do it? I did. I already pulled my recipe and put it over here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I'm going to do all the mise en place here first, so that'll make it a little easier for me. And hopefully I won't be twirling off in multiple directions like I sometimes do. So we're going to take an onion, a medium yellow onion, and I think this needs to be sliced. Yeah. So this one is going to be thinly sliced. I'm also one of those people that uses a recipe, but only to an extent. But I like to have it for reference. Used to drive my mom nuts. But the recipe says... And I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Because my mom was a recipe follower. If you haven't been here, occasionally I do, from my mom's recipe files, I'll have a night and pull the recipes from there. And my mom would write notes. Like, I even know when she cooked things because she wrote those in her notes. We made this on Kelsey's birthday.
It was a big hit.
It was a big hit. This chicken, Dana loved the sauce. Dave did not. Dave was my dad. Use less sauce for Dave. I don't do that. I'm just like, do you remember if you liked this? And Robbie goes, And then I'm like, okay, well, you're getting it anyway.
Chances are pretty high that it's yes.
Sullivan Old Town Barbecue in Louisville. The sauces there are really awesome. Food was good. People super friendly. The owner actually came down our first time there. Well, even that one time when they were like, the limit is 2 beers. And we had a beer on the table each. And they came over and we'd taken like 2 sips out of the beer. And they were like, do you need another one? We're like, not yet. And then they'd bring us another one. And then we'd get like 2 sips into that. And they're like, do you need another one? But that's not the reason we went back. It may have helped.
It certainly didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt. It was funny. It was just funny. Like, do you want soda, water, or free beer? Is this a trick question?
We had to make them repeat the question.
Yeah. Like, excuse me, could you say that again? And the owner just sat down and talked to us and kind of found out he didn't live too far from me. So, all right, so I'm thinly slicing these. We don't want thick slices for this. We want pretty thin slices. You know, you can almost see through them. There we go. So we got that done. And then we need carrots. I didn't get the carrots and celery out. I am glad I'm doing this first. This has a lot of steps to it. Okay. Woo! That was loud. At least on my end. I'm so glad that We have microphones now. I think that makes it, I don't feel like I have to shout or yell or feel so bad when I walk away. Halloween is coming up. Does anybody have any, what's your favorite Halloween candy? What's the one that you would steal from your kids' basket, or that you would trade for if you're still out there getting candy? Awesome. I'm glad the audio sounds good. Anything? What's your favorites? Reese's? Yeah, Reese's are good. What about you, Robbie? What's your favorite? Butterfinger. I actually like Butterfingers too.
So Reese's are up there, Butterfinger, Snickers.
Snickers? Yeah, I could take or leave Snickers. Three Musketeers. It's a good one. Yeah. Seeing a trend here with chocolate. I had a friend who liked Mary Jane's, so she'd trade her M&Ms for the Mary Jane's, which is bonus. I would also steal the M&Ms from my kids' bags, but shh, I don't think Kelsey's in here, so.
So that and the Heath bars?
Heath bars are my absolute favorites. Those are my favorites, but I really like Butterfingers too. Secret safe, but it's fine. What's she gonna do about it now? She can go buy her own. I can't even remember what her favorite was. All right, thickly sliced, thickly sliced. There we go. That's a little easier. Woo. Milky Way, Sour Patch Kids, Trolley. Oh, the Trolley Bright crawlers. Are those like the little worm-looking things? Well, I wasn't asking you, Robbie. I was asking Fallen Age. Oh, the sour worms. When I was really young, when chocolate really wasn't a big thing that was in the, like you were like super excited like with chocolate because you didn't get chocolate that much, or at least I didn't in the early 70s. So I really liked, thank you for the picture, Robbie, of trolleys. What are those called? The Smarties. Smarties were one of my favorites, which is just basically flavored sugar. That's all it is. I'm sorry, my allergies are bad, and I'm like trying to itch my nose, and I know that looks bad on a cooking stream. But I live in Texas, and so allergies just suck here. I even go, my friend has a gym here called Impact, and I even go there sometimes because she's got such a good air filtration system. And I'll go just because it makes my allergies feel better. Whatever gets you in the door, right? And then I pretend to work out for an hour. Get rid of that. And you know, if you want to make, like, if you hate like the stringiness of celery, you can actually peel celery, and that'll take some of that stringiness away from you too. All right, so that was 2 carrots and 2 things of celery. I like, eyeballs. So I'm not sure what that says about you, banana alligator. Let's see here. Zombie fingers, fangs, and eyeballs. I'm assuming they're like gummies. On that. Candy corn I like too, and I know that the wax traffic cone's not so much, but the candy corn. And I keep seeing all these things, get rid of candy corn, all these memes, and I'm like, you know, you don't have to like them.
Right, I'm not a fan, but you are more than welcome.
But if I like them, and I only have them one time a year, because I think we were talking, these are filthy. I must have put my finger on them, hang on. people, the candy, like there were certain things you only got at Halloween. Candy corn. Now you can get candy corn in like 4 different things. Peeps, only Easter. Now you get them in multiple things. I'm like, Cadbury eggs. It's like, no, make it special because I really don't want candy corn year round. I'd like to have a couple of handfuls of candy corn and be done with it. Okay, so we now need some garlic. So I'm doing all my mise en place. That way it'll all come together. You don't want it all year round either? See, you and I were the same. Who wants to eat candy? Like, who wants to eat, well, first of all, who wants to eat Peeps? I mean, Kelsey does. Kelsey loves Peeps. So I reluctantly bought those for her when she was little. To each their own. I even used to send them to her in college. Are you behaving now, Rocky?
He wasn't, but he's being handled.
I think he wants to be on camera. I think that's what he's trying to do. I agree. 3 months is enough. I also just hate that like the stores put up their decorations so far in advance now. And it's like, I am not thinking about Halloween. It is July or August. I'm not thinking about Christmas yet. Don't make me anxious.
It's 100 degrees outside.
Was it hard? Yeah, get them rock hard. How do you even eat them when they get that way? So I'm just smashing the garlic so we get all that nice garlicky oil flavor when we get ready to do some stuff here. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start heating this up. And because I make the mistake of forgetting to preheat the cast iron on the stream, and then we have to wait forever for that to happen. And then we need thyme and rosemary, which I have, but we're going to leave them on the sprigs. They've already been washed. They came out of my garden. So I've got 3 sprigs of rosemary and probably more than 3 sprigs of thyme, but it's fine. Like, I think you would break your teeth or pull the fillings out if you let the Peeps get rock hard before you ate them. You know, fresh herbs, nothing like cutting them right off, bringing them right into the kitchen. Absolutely. And then I think the butter, okay, we're going to put some, I'm going to let a little bit of canola oil in here. You can use vegetable oil, but you need something with a little bit higher smoke point than, say, olive oil. I have cut a pork loin. I had a full pork loin. I cut about 2 1/4 pounds off of it to cook so that we're not here for 4 hours waiting for the pork loin to cook. And we are going to just really season this really well with salt and pepper because the flavor is going to come from all of the vegetables. And I always look like and feel like I'm oversalting pork. But I think in all the times I've cooked it, only one time was I like, oh, that was too much. Robbie may disagree, but that's okay because his pinch is like this.
And
It's like 4 grains of salt. Not enough. And wash hands because I was touching the pork. Don't want to touch the pepper grinder. Ooh. And there we go. And when I get that in the pan, I'll do the other side. This one's actually already been pretty cleaned. I'm leaving a little fat on it. It helps keep this moist. There really wasn't any silver skin that I could see on it, but if you do get a pork loin, and you see it more on pork tenderloins than you do on pork loins, always make sure to clean it. If there's like big chunky pieces of fat on it, you'll want to get those off. Or if you see that really thin skin that looks very fibrous, you'll want to cut that off as well. So, yeah, so this one looked like a really pretty good, perfect layer on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sear this in here, and then I'm just going to put it back on this plate because it's going to go back into the oven with all the veggies and stuff. So we're going to get it really seared. Then we're going to do all of the veggies, stick this in here with the fat side up, and put it in the oven so that the fat kind of, as it's cooking, melts over the top of it and keeps it moist. So what was that look for? You had to look over there. So Robbie sees...
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Ignore Robbie, who's making faces like this. So I don't know if he's watching a game or paying attention. He does, as long as he's eating. Just me? Oh, so that face was for me? That's encouraging. All right, allergies. What is he getting into now? Oh, he has ruined my rug. You know, I can bring him over while I'm waiting for this to heat up. Here's Rocky. Here's Rocky.
He would like to try a bite.
I know. No, you may not. Go. He's going to the groomer tomorrow. He looks like a hot mess. He looks like an orphan that's been living on the streets. But that's because we've been out of town for 2 weeks, and so he was at the dog place. So, yeah, he's a little crazy. He's still... Okay, so I'm going to stick this in here. That side down to get that started searing. You can hear it. Actually, I'm going to get a new plate. I lied. I'm going to get a new plate. I'm trying to be good to Robbie, but never mind.
That's okay.
I don't need to be good to you. You get to eat later. That is good enough. Look, this is actually one of my super old aprons that I got for Thanksgiving one year. So I could look cute, but I haven't worn it on the stream yet. Not that you care about my aprons, but I was like, I'm going to wear my fall apron. Woo! Put some pepper on that side. So let's get a nice sear on all sides of this. And let's see. I have these extra bowls I don't need right now. Ow. That shot me right in the face. Don't do that, pork. That's not nice. Thank you. Thank you. Orange is actually my favorite color. I am currently trying to caffeinate after my workout because I literally just wanted to fall asleep when I got home. So I'm drinking, this is one of the last, there's I think 2 more in there, right? So we're down to 2 Moxies from Maine. It's kind of interesting. It's like root beer / cream soda with the bitter at the end. I don't know what it means, but it's, you know. Oh. So we're going to dress up for Halloween, but we don't have costumes yet. We have to do that this weekend. And I'm afraid all the places are going to be very, very short on costumes. I mean, we have the cow costumes, but we've already done that.
Quite recently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. We were talking the other night, and that road trip was so long. There were times like I said something about when we wore the cow costumes in Outer Banks, and Robbie was like, that was on the trip? Yes, it was. Yeah. Oh, so you were up in New York? We drove. Robbie did everything he could to avoid going through New York City on the way back after going through New York City, because
So we went all the way to Buffalo.
so well, I mean, you took the Vermont.
Oh, yes.
You went
that's-
through
that's
Vermont
true.
and everything because the traffic was so bad. All right, look at how nice and brown that side is. Let's get the other sides all browned. Oh, okay. So you're outside. Well, then, you know, I don't know if you saw any of the stream, but we went and we got beef on weck at Anderson's. And we also went to the Anchor Bar and got some original buffalo chicken wings. So I actually used to live in Rochester, and so I really like country sweet wings. I won't call them buffalo wings since they're sweet and spicy and not like buffalo wings. But
You also prefer them bone-in.
yes, you have. He likes non-bone-in, like boneless wings, and I'm like, you miss some of the flavor. Original buffalo wings. I don't recommend driving in New York City. I really don't. I've done it a couple of times, but honestly, if you can avoid it, just avoid it. Oh, don't tell me that. Banana alligator.
All right, banana.
Don't encourage Robbie. Don't encourage him. I mean, if you're, people are encouraging you too much. So much more flavor when the bone is in. You get all that good flavor.
It is better flavor, I will give you that. It's just so much easier to eat. And I
But
feel like I
maybe-
get to eat it all because I don't have bones left over. I'm not saying it makes sense.
But it slows you down when you're eating, and you can like see people, and it's not like.
I don't know.
To each his own. Everybody can choose their own way of eating wings. It is easier to eat them when they're boneless, but I like the bone in. See, and this is what I've been saying in my head, Flashbang, is that it's a chicken nugget.
I prefer boneless wings. Yeah.
I'm just going to call them chicken nuggets when you get them now. Well, Robbie has to put up with me cooking with the bone in. Even the chicken the other night, I was like, I am getting chicken breast with bones in, because the chicken breast with the bones in my opinion, tastes so much better. Because chicken breast with no bones in don't really have any flavor whatsoever. So all I'm doing here is I'm searing every side. I want every side to be seared because brown food tastes good. Brown food tastes good. Like that. So. Everybody's got their own taste. I like to tease Robbie.
Yes,
His
you
mom,
do.
he got chicken nuggets from his mom the other day.
I remember chicken tenders and chicken poppers.
Those are chicken nuggets.
Okay. Everything's a chicken nugget now.
Chicken poppers and chicken nuggets. What was it? Chicken tenders. So that's what his mom gave him. Okay, so fat side up. Well, actually, I need to get a plate that I've already got. It's right over here.
Those chicken tenders the other day were not nearly as spicy as the ones I had before.
They weren't spicy at all.
Well, that's why
The spicy ones were not spicy.
That's why they weren't, because the other ones are really spicy.
So I'm going to get butter out, and I have really not treated this block of butter very well.
Were you mean to it?
It's like a very, very odd shape. And I'm going to put about a couple tablespoons in here. There's already enough. There's, some from the pork and then the canola oil, but we're going to put all of these in here. Butter's really for flavor because there's enough oil in there. And then these are going to go in there. The garlic. And we're just going to cook these down a little bit. Oh, I forgot to cut the apples. Let's do that real quick. Because I think... Hey, do you want to come do some stirring while I cut these apples? I don't think these are supposed to be... Oh, they are peeled. Okay. So I'm using... the recipe that I've got here calls for Cortland or Rome apples. And I didn't make it to my favorite grocery store that has like 30 varieties of apples. So I am using Fuji apples here. But you don't want to use anything that's a more mushy apple like a Red Delicious or even a Gala apple would probably not be very good. You want something that's a little more, you want an apple that's a little more firm when you're cooking in savory dishes. I'm not a big Red Delicious apple person. I used to be when I was a kid, but now I'm like, they're mushy, they're not real sweet. And there's Robbie, although he's not on camera. Are you hiding? You don't want to stand next to me? You don't want to stand next to me? There are dogs circling on the side over here next to the pork loin. Yeah, I agree. You don't see, I'm glad to see that there's a lot more varieties. Like I really like Honeycrisp apples. I thought about those for this, but I thought they might be a little too sweet. And I didn't get the core out, so this is going to be kind of ugly. Ugly coring. Woo.
It's just like that time that I cut straight through an avocado.
Pit. Let's be clear. He
and
cut through the avocado pit.
And I know better. I've done that lots and lots of times. But I don't know what I was thinking. Just like when
Pretty talented. Oh, you talked about the wine bottle? Is that where you're going? I don't know if you guys heard the wine bottle story, but he once was like, this cork is really hard to... The corkscrew's not working really well with it. Well, it was a screw top bottle. But he did get it open with the
and only then
corkscrew.
did I realize.
I couldn't even drink the wine. I was laughing so hard.
I got it open.
Check to make sure that your wine bottle is not a screw top before you put a corkscrew through the top of it.
That's my tip of the day.
I think if only we had an oops counter for Robbie.
That would be so much higher. I'd be in the triple digits by now.
Would you?
Yep.
I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I'm going to make these. It said to cut these into 8 slices, but they're kind of all different sizes. Oh well. It'll still taste good, right? Taste is the most important thing,
Yes.
but texture is also important. And being cooked through is also important. But I always think of, I like to make things look nice for Instagram or the Discord page or whatever, but in the end, I see some things and I'm like, but does it taste good? Like, tell me, how did it taste? Because, yes, we eat with our eyes first, but it doesn't do any good if it doesn't taste good.
It's true stunt food, like lard for ice cream.
Yes. I used to work at, years and years ago, in the 80s. I worked at Red Lobster, and when we would put our desserts out for people to see when they walked in, which I really don't get the point of that, but that's what they did. And the ice cream was always lard. It was like, really good. All right, so now we are going to put these in here for a couple minutes. Yeah, don't eat the displays of food because they are usually made, because they use that for when you're taking pictures and stuff too, because the light is so hot and it'll melt really fast. And it does look like ice cream.
That is true about the biscuits.
The biscuit. You know, they didn't have those biscuits when I worked there. That came afterwards. That was not originally on their menu. That was how long ago it was that I worked there. I also worked at Steak and Shake in the 80s. It kind of works at Perkins to have the desserts out there. I want to hear them talk about it. I want to hear them tell me about the dessert. You can show me all the pictures and the menus. You can do none of that matters. It needs to sound good.
See,
Or smell good.
I think I'd rather see it. Although smelling it would be way better.
Yeah.
Like now.
It does smell delicious in here right now with the onions, and the garlic smells so good. I can smell the garlic from the oven too.
My mouth is watering.
I used to go to Perkins like on the weekends for breakfast all of the time when I lived in Rochester. All right, I'm going to push all of this aside. We're going to put our pork loin in here. And we are going to go stick that in the oven. And I want to make sure I've got that right. Oh, I need one at 400 degrees. So I'm going to need see, now I need 3 ovens. I have 3 different heats that things are supposed to be cooked on. What do? I only had 1 oven. When I redid my kitchen, I got me 2 ovens, but now I need 3. We'll make it work.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, you don't, do you?
I really shouldn't say things, Chat.
He doesn't know me too well when he does things like that. So this is going to go in the oven, and we're going to check it probably in about 30 minutes. But I want Robbie to get out his thermometer. Because his thermometer that I bought him, but it's his thermometer, is 1,000 times better than mine. And the reason why he has the better thermometer is because he's the one who does the majority of the grilling. Okay, whoops, don't stick those in there. All right, pork roast is in the oven. Guess what? Now it's time to start on the cheesecake.
Then you would like this to go thin before
Yes, yes. And when did I didn't set a timer for the butternut squash. I'm not very good at that. Which is important when you're baking, so we got to do that. You got to modify it so it works in the dishwasher. I've seen, there was a Mythbusters about that, with Alton Brown, actually.
Oh, that's the one he was on?
Yeah, so Alton Brown actually did a Mythbusters with the, they did a lasagna in the dishwasher. For real. And they were like, I mean, it's not bad for dishwasher lasagna. Okay. So, for the cheesecake, I am making it, this is not a no-bake cheesecake. This is a you must bake it kind of cheesecake here. And I'm going to clean off some of this other stuff before I get going. Just take my time. But I don't know that I want a pork roast in my dishwasher or a cheesecake. Maybe the butternut squash.
It sounds like a mess.
37 minutes ago. Thank you very much. I will check it in about 10 minutes. Hey, Google, set a timer for 10 minutes.
Sure, 10 minutes, and we're starting now.
Really? Salmon and salmon with asparagus in the dishwasher. Was that like, did you choose to do that? You had to do that? Or you were like, I wonder if this would work?
Was this a challenge? Did somebody dare you?
Yeah. Why did you choose to make asparagus and salmon in the dishwasher? Because, you know, fish to me is one of those things I already am still feeling like I'm learning how to do. So, one, okay. But is it better in the oven or on the grill? I'll stick this over here. So here's the thing about a cheesecake that you're actually baking in the oven. I'm going to show you all the steps to this, but I actually have one completely made. You have to, yeah. So, of course, cleanup would be easier because, yeah, I would imagine. But, yeah, you got to seal it really well if you're putting it in the dishwasher is what I've heard. Because, again, I've never tried tried it.
Sort of like a sous vide.
No.
It's in a container and it's surrounded by water.
But it's not as consistent a
Well.
temperature as like the sous vide would be. What did I come over here for? Oh, yeah. Actually, I need to do the crust first. So let me make the crust for this first. We're going to do a graham cracker crust. And I found yesterday when I was making the crust for this. Woo! Sorry, buddy. Don't get in my way. I don't need these right now. That to get 2 cups of graham cracker, crumbs is, and I don't know why I'm putting it in there yet. I don't need to put it in there yet. I need to put it in here and crush it. It's 2 of these packages minus 1 cracker, but you're probably okay if you use 2 full packages here. I am not using the cinnamon and sugar ones. These are just the plain old graham crackers. A bad version of a steam tray, I bet. But you know what? I've seen people try to cook things on the engines of their cars as they drive. And then when they get to the place, then whatever they're cooking is done. I guess it's no weirder than trying to cook eggs on a sidewalk. You could do this in a food processor, but I'm trying to be nice to Robbie and not have another thing for him to clean. And this is easy enough.
get some anger out. And it's more fun, right?
It is more fun, especially if you are angry at, say, Rocky for ruining your rug. All right, that's 1 cup. While I do the 2nd cup, I'm going to melt some butter. And it's going to be about, that's going to be about 6 tablespoons. Which on here,
You have to do some geometry and math to figure that out.
I
with that
do.
shape of butter.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's about 6 tablespoons, which is just short if you cook. You know, that's a little short of a whole stick. Ooh. Do you want to open that for me? See, I have a helper in the kitchen, so it's really nice. I have a sous chef. Yeah. Well, thank you, Crazy Druid, Crazy Druid Words, for the follow. Thank you so much, and welcome in. If you are just joining us, I've got a pork loin with apples in the oven. We still have to make I'm not going to really call it a gravy, it's more of a sauce for it. And we've got some butternut squash going in the oven roasting for making a garlic parmesan puree out of it. And right now I'm working on a cheesecake. So we're working on the graham cracker crust. And now getting some more anger out. Although I gotta say, I'm in Texas, I'm super happy it's fall. It's so nice to walk outside and it not be 110. It's still pretty humid, but it's not like I have to water my plants 2 times a day to keep them alive. So that's good. So I think I was saying, I don't know if I finished my thought, because that so often happens when I'm talking on the stream. I'm actually doing a baked cheesecake. So we're going to get this in the oven, but I did one yesterday, so we've got a finished one, because they really need to chill for 6 hours after they've been in the oven, after they've cooled down. But it's like an hour in the oven, and then it's another, you turn off the heat, and then it's in the oven for another hour, and then you pull it out, and it cools down for another hour, and then you stick it in the fridge for like 6 hours. So our crust is going to have the 2 cups of graham crackers. Thank you. I will put that over here for when I need it. And I need about a 1/4 cup of sugar. And then we're going to make our own pumpkin pie spice to put in here too. Now, another option, and I thought about doing this. Hi, Gaming to Cook. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. So another option to this, I mean, the graham cracker crust with a cheesecake is, pretty common. But I have like ginger snaps over there. I'm going to put them on the top though. But you could always throw maybe a few ginger snaps in there and give your crust a little spiciness and flavor beyond that. Okay, I need to save that. Can't put that away yet. So 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 cups of graham crackers. I have 6 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to pour in after I make my pumpkin pie spice. So I'm going to make my own. You may certainly go to the store and buy a thing of pumpkin pie spice. Thank you very much. So, so you can go buy the pumpkin pie spice. I already have 8 million spices in my kitchen. As Robbie can attest, you open up a cabinet and spice bottles hit you in the head. So I'm just going to make my own because I have everything for it already. And you can make your own. So a typical pumpkin pie spice is going to have ginger, cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Cinnamon being the most forward of those flavors. Some have allspice in them, and then sometimes people put other weird stuff in them. But this is what I'm just going to stick with the basics with these 4. And I need my measuring spoons. I also may twist and turn in the kitchen as I look for stuff because, you should dance in the kitchen. So I'm going to put, and again, this doesn't have to be an exact science. I'm going to put, oh, this was in teaspoons. I'm looking at this other one. Well, that's fine. We can do it this way. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of cinnamon because I can always do this later. This cinnamon came, even though it's McCormick's, it did make the drive all the way from Portland. Because what did we make in Portland? We made the lobster rolls, but what else did we make? I put half as much ginger in as I do cinnamon. Boy, it's like it's humid or something. Whoa. I normally buy in bulk, but today I was in a hurry. I was out of ginger. When I made my pie yesterday, I have this, I have a savory, a sweet mix that's got a lot of cinnamon and ginger and stuff in it. So I cheated and I used that yesterday. And then I need it's like 4 to 1/2. I don't know if that makes sense. So now I'm going to put in, so I have I'm going to start that all over. I have my cinnamon, and I half it to put the ginger in it. Now I half the amount of ginger in it to put the cloves in. So since I put a tablespoon of cloves in, I'm going to do half a tablespoon of cloves, words. Okay? And then I'm going to half that and put that much nutmeg in. All right? So we're going to put in about, it's going to be a little less than a teaspoon. Nutmeg, you don't usually put a whole lot of nutmeg flavor into things. So, woo! All right. So that is done. Stir that up. I do want to check the butternut squash because that was for the butternut squash. Or I can have Robbie do it. That's what I'm going to do. Have Robbie do it. Hey, Robbie, can you check the butternut squash and see if a fork will go through it? And then for this, we're going to want a teaspoon of the spice. And then I'm going to mix this up before I put the butter in. Don't worry, I will use that later for the pumpkin pie. And then maybe sometime this week I'll make pumpkin ice cream. I know. I knew he was going to do that too. I don't know if you heard him. Because ice cream, all you have to do is say ice cream. So if you ever want to hear that noise, just chat and put in, I'm making ice cream.
It went through with some effort.
Okay, well, so we'll give it another few minutes. I thought it might need a little more time. So I am mixing all that up, and then I'm going to use a springform pan to make the cheesecake. If you don't have a springform pan, I really suggest if you're making a cheesecake to get a springform pan because it is so much easier to make it look pretty and come out if you want it to look like a cake. If you don't have a springform pan, your cheesecake is going to stick to the sides of whatever you're making it in. But you know what you could do is if you wanted to make it more of a pumpkin cheesecake pie, you could do this in a pie and make this your pie crust. So I have my springform pan, and I've put foil in the bottom because it's much easier to take the cake off of the bottom of the pan when you need to. And then we want to put that in there, and we want to go up a little on the sides of this as well. Oh, and I need to turn water on to boil. So we're just going to press that in here. It's not going to look like completely put together, which is okay. Does that make sense? That doesn't look completely put together. Like it's not going to look like a regular pie crust or anything. But you want to go up on the sides just a little bit. And the foil also helps protect when you're putting things in the oven, like cheesecake. We're going to put this in a hot water bath and put it in there. And what that does is that helps the cheesecake from cracking across the top. Now my one yesterday, despite the fact that I did that, did crack a little bit. You know how like when you make pumpkin pie, you get like the crack in the middle of the pie? It still tastes fine, but if you want it to look real pretty, that's a tough thing to keep from happening. Now what I am going to do is stick this in the oven for about 7 or 8 minutes just to start baking and coming together a little bit more. So there we go. I don't know, Robbie doesn't have the other camera on. He's busy being a dog person, even though he's a cat person. So there we go. That's going in the oven at 350 for about 7 or 8 minutes. So I'm going to remember to set a timer. Hey Google, set timer for 7 minutes.
Okay, 7 minutes, starting now.
And now we'll begin to make the yummy inside. Why is I mean, I don't always look totally put together, but that's okay too. I've had my cream cheese sitting out on the counter for a couple hours just so that it softens up a little bit. When you're making, by the way, that is a 9-inch springform pan, and we are using 4 8-ounce things, and if you do math, 32 ounces of cream cheese. And I do love Costco because you can get it really cheap. You can get like a pack of 6 of these.
That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. Because again, we're doing a baked cheesecake. Although I have to tell you that one of my favorite things to do, because I do try to stay away from gluten. I'm not like totally gluten-free, but the inflammation that comes along with eating too much gluten is not something I like. So I will use like gluten-free crackers and do a no-bake cheesecake, but I put them into like little jars and stuff so that I don't overeat my desserts. And clearly that's worked wonders. Yep, that's what I said. It's exactly what I said. And allergies, Texas. So gaming to cook. So I know that Banana Alligator is up there in upstate New York. Flashbang, gaming to cook, Palm Stick. Where are you guys located in the country or outside of the country? I don't see my normal people from England and Australia in here today. Yep, I see him. Thank you for letting me know. We're getting work done so that we have a little emote of him stealing stuff off of the counter. So, Arizona. What do you mean it's the land of cooking things in weird ways and places? Do you know?
I can't think of anything.
All right, a full cup of just plain old white granulated sugar. And what we're going to do is I'm going to stick this over on the mixer. Well, I have to put the brown sugar in there too. And we're going to let that get a little fluffy. So Oh, okay. Dashboard cookies in the summer. I haven't tried dashboard cookies. That's interesting because it does get hot there. For sure. My heat story from Arizona. So Robbie's going to love this one too. Right.
Yeah,
You-
I know where we're going.
It is. Yeah. Robbie, we were there and we were in Scottsdale area and we decided we wanted to go for a walk, but we didn't get out until like 10. So that was the first mistake.
When you say walk, you mean hike.
Hike, yes. And Robbie said he found a place for us to go hike, but I can't remember what it was called, but it was literally just rocks. And like this big, and you know what? He's 6'2". I'm a foot shorter than that. This is like me climbing like this. No trees, no nothing, 104 degrees. And we're hiking up.
It might have been worse than that, actually.
It's true. We get down, I look at the sign. It says, when temperatures are over 90, this is a 5-diamond hike. And I'm like, so now I'm like, you want to go hiking? I need to see it. What?
She has to approve it.
I have to approve it. We did not make it all the way to the top, but there was a crazy guy who was jogging up that. I don't even know how he did that. Okay, 1/4 cup of brown sugar.
That was probably it.
I don't know. I don't think it was Camelback Mountain. I think I would have remembered that. East side, not Seattle proper. Oh, okay, so you are in Seattle. Awesome. So do you go to Pink Gorilla? Is that how you found us here? And if you're not familiar, Pink Gorilla is owned by my daughter's co-owner of that. All right, so we're gonna get this started over here. Ooh, that was a little too fast. I'm gonna let that go before we put the other stuff in. So the other thing we're gonna put in there is some egg puree. We're gonna put some of the seasoning in there that we did. I forgot the vanilla extract last night. So luckily that wasn't on the air or I'd get another oops thing from Robbie. So North Dakota, is that one of the ones neither of us have been to? I think that's one of 2 states that neither Robbie or I've been to is North Dakota. If we go to North Dakota, where should we visit? Because it's on the list of places to go. Any thoughts on that? Because we're trying to plan, just mildly, we're trying to plan our next trip.
The next one will not be quite as crazy, for sure.
So he says. So that's funny.
I've been there, but you haven't?
I haven't been to either of the Dakotas. Stop. All right, you keep going over here. That was for our graham cracker crust. It has browned a little bit on the edges. I don't know if you guys can see that. But we wanted to cool down a little bit before we put everything in there, which is fine because we're still mixing it. But I'm also going to check the butternut squash. And I know you guys can't see me. Gosh, I still feel like that. Well, it's pretty good. It's going to go, I got to find a place to put it without burning myself. All right. So, there's that. I am going to scrape some of this down the side, make sure it's all mixed up together, because cream cheese is one of those things that likes to really creep up to the top of the thing because it's so sticky. Okay. I don't know if Robbie can bring that camera over there. So here's what I've got. We're going to do a can of pumpkin puree. We're going to do 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. I'm going to do, let's see, how much of this does it want? A tablespoon of this, so quite a bit. 3 eggs and 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream. That's all going to head into our cheesecake. If you are not very good at cracking eggs, I suggest always doing them into another container. If you feel like you are pretty good at it, you can do it this way. I'm going to add that. And I'm going to make sure that's all mixed up really well before I put the rest of the stuff in there. Whoops. I'm making a mess. Do you like it? I'm sorry, I'm hitting the camera. I'm hitting you guys. I'm not meaning to.
We have someone watching from Scotland.
Scotland. Wow. Welcome to the stream. Hey. I'm so glad that you are here. Thank you for being here. So Claire McDonough, did I say that right? Do you guys do Halloween in Scotland? Because we're kind of weird here in the United States with stuff. Here goes. Now make sure that if you are doing this, that you are not buying the pumpkin pie filling. Buy the pumpkin pie puree or pumpkin puree instead. Or, oh, thanks. Robbie came over here and showed me something. I'm not exactly sure what, but I'll come back and look at the chat on the other thing. I'm not very good at discerning things sometimes. It's okay. I don't need it for my job or anything as a therapist. It's all good. Okay. So there we go. That's mixing up. See, that was the other thing I was going to say, Narf Chunks. Okay, Claire. Okay, thanks, Claire. I was going to say, and then Robbie distracted me. It's all his fault. Is that you could make your own puree. What did he get? Oh, one of the little thing. Rocky? No. That's not a toy. You have 8,000 toys. Go pick one of those. So you can make your own pumpkin puree. I do have a pumpkin over here. I just didn't have time. All right. So a tablespoon of my pumpkin pie mix is going in there. And I need some vanilla. So 2 teaspoons of vanilla. By the way, I'm also heating up water on the stove because that's going to be part of our water bath as we put this in the oven. And I do want to make sure, because the cream cheese usually gets stuck at the bottom or on your mixer or anything, is real important with this so that you don't get like big clumps of cream cheese, is to stir and make sure that it's all, as Robbie is holding that, I guess making sure I don't knock it over, because I would. So I think it's so sticky. So Narv Chunks, how do you make your pumpkin puree? Do you put it in the oven and let it cook? What's your modus operandi in making that? See how there's chunks of that get stuck? So we want to make sure, because nobody wants to bite into a cheesecake and get a big chunk of just cream cheese, right? Well, maybe somebody does. I don't. Okay. I don't want to actually pour that into the pie crust yet. I want to give it a few more minutes to cool a little bit. But I think this is pretty good, and I've made a gigantic mess over here. I am not the neatest cook on the planet. Did you need this? No? You did yesterday. Are you shy because we're on the air? Yes, shy. So I'm trying to get this water to boil on the stove. And once that boils, we'll put that into here. This is the only thing I had big enough to put my springform pan into. So that's, if I can pick it up, it's probably pretty good. So, yeah, I'll have to look into making my own puree, but I am curious about how you do it. My mom just used the pumpkin puree in the can growing up. Because again, I think that's about the only squash that we ever ate. Pumpkin. And I would not have told you that was a squash when I was younger. So while I'm waiting for this other stuff, I wanted to show you, have you guys ever done like the bark box with the dogs? I started doing that because I heard that they are better. Like the toys are better and they don't fall apart. And Rocky is really tough on toys, even though he's tiny, even though he's a small dog. And the toys actually are really good. And there's always a theme for it. So, of course, October's theme was kind of Halloween, except that it was called, let's see here. It is the Mischief Mutts. And I took one out already. What was it that I took out? I can't remember. But it has shaving cream in it. But this is the one that was really interesting for me. It's a burning bag of dog poop. That's the toy. That's the toy. Oh, the smashed pumpkin. So the smashed pumpkin was the other one. These are very weird toys. I mean, who thought to make a dog toy that's a burning bag of poop? I don't know. Nobody else finds that weird? I find it weird. The ones that did not come in here were squeak farts, practical yolks, so it looked like eggs, and toilet paper that says poo on it. So somebody was in a weird mood when they made this box. Anyway, I'm just wasting time. And it was there. Okay, so this is cool enough for me to lift up. And I am, well, actually, you probably can't see it that way. So we'll fill it up this way with our nice cheesecake mixture. Look at that color. That color looks yummy, even. Is the other camera still over there? I see some of these chefs and they have these wonderful setups with the cameras right over what they're doing. We're not quite there yet. It's pretty smooth. I probably could have let it go a little bit longer in the mixer, but here we go. I have to taste it. And now I got it on my glasses. So don't do that if you're wearing glasses. Now, I'm going to actually, yesterday, I put the water in after I put the cheesecake in, and it sloshed into my cheesecake. So today, I'm going to take this hot water and pour it in here first. And ignore the floating stuff in the water. This pan was not very clean. And then I'm going to set this in here. And it's about halfway up the pan, maybe a little less than that, but you want it about halfway up the pan. And now I'm going to put it into the oven, and it's going to be in the oven for an hour. So I don't know if you guys will, get to see that come out of the oven, but we'll show you what it looked like with the finished one that we did yesterday. Hello, Elsa. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, did we not set up the menu thing? Oh, we did? Okay.
Want me to do that?
Sure. But we're doing pork loin with apples and Parmesan garlic, butternut puree, and a pumpkin cheesecake that just went into the oven. So let's see here. Oh, and thank you, 89E. I don't even know how to say that, but thank you for the follow. Thank you. Winter is a good time. I'm not sure I understand. It could be that my trainer kicked my butt today. Whenever it's a good time. Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. That makes sense. And see, if my brain were working, I probably would have figured that out. But my brain isn't working very well. So let's go ahead and get the Yeah. Oh, isn't he so cute? Oh, this is such a sweetie. Except that my youngest was watching Otis and said Otis was being the pain. So Otis is our old man. So if you don't know this, Otis is 14. He's a Bichon Frise. Actually, he's 14 and almost 14 and a half now. And he is a good dog. So he's a cutie. And he's pretty much kind of most of the time like whatever. So not whenever, but whatever. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put the sugar away, and we're going to go ahead and make our butternut garlic Parmesan puree. And I have got a mixer, or not a mixer, a blender. I'm going to have to tell Money, his real name is Corey, I want to tell him that he cannot sap all of my energy. So, this is the squash, the butternut squash that just came out of the oven. That I'm saying here it is, but I'm not on camera yet. And we are actually using pretty much all of this. We're not going to obviously use the stem, so we'll take that off. But this particular puree you can use, we wanted to cook it really well because we want the skin to be really soft. We're actually just going to put that in there too. So that's the good news. We don't have to scoop anything. We're just going to kind of chop it up into bits and stick that in there. And I'm not sure, are you busy, Robert? Can't forget the garlic, right? Make sure we get all the good garlic. Are you busy?
4.
Would you like to grate some Parmesan?
I give it an A.
Okay, thank you. Now, could you grate it? Smart Alec.
That'll take longer.
Now I'm going to make him grate more than I need.
I heard that.
Now this thinks that I'm going to get this done, the recipe that I pulled, that I'm going to get this done without any liquid in here. I doubt that. At least not my blender. Maybe somebody else's blender is better. So I'm actually going to put a little cream in there too, because who doesn't like a little cream? Or milk, or something like that. Lots of garlic. Look at the roasted garlic. It smells so good. I'm going to try and get the parts that are a little more cooked. It probably could have gone a little bit longer in there. That's a lot in there. So I'm actually going to use milk instead of heavy cream because I've got heavy cream in so many things right now. But I'm going to heat it up first. And it's about to get loud. But I typically try to heat my milk up or my cream up before I put it in things. Unless it specifically tells me not to. We're not going to be able to fit all of that in mine. My blender's not a huge blender. Exactly as I thought. I need some liquid in here to make my puree. So, I see Grummy getting petted in the emotes, and I haven't seen Grummy for a while. And I was hoping that Kelsey could be here on Halloween, but it doesn't look like that's going to work out for her. And it's all Mito's fault because Mito can't find a babysitter for himself. But it's okay. I get to see her for a day, so I'm happy about that. Yep, there's Mito. Yeah, I know, you're Otis. Otis. Where's Rocky?
Outside.
Oh, good.
He's allowing the game.
Now, if you want a more buttery taste with this, you could totally add butter. But I'm gonna try it first. Robbie's working on puppy cam. All right, I'm going to taste this, see how we're doing here. And then, did anybody, oh, there he did. He brought me it here. Wow, that's a lot of Parmesan. That's probably more than I need. Shh, don't tell him. That's pretty good. Now let's get some Parmesan in there. It's super garlicky. Uh-oh, we lost him. Oh, there we go. There he is. Hi, Rocky. Pumpkin cheesecake. Pumpkin cheesecake. Very, very good. I think everybody loves to see the puppies. I don't blame them. They're cute. More cheese. This is what he does all the time. He just randomly runs around barking at nothing in the backyard. The cheesecake is a sweet cheesecake. So it's like cheesecake, but it's pumpkin. You know, we're in the United States, and we feel like we must put pumpkin spice in everything. Everything at all. Everything. And so it's basically that. It's dessert for sure. And it's for Robbie, who likes pumpkin pie and cheesecake. All right, this is almost a soup consistency. I may have put a little too much cream in there. It's fine. It's going to be delicious. Delicious. It's good. It may need a little more salt, but Robbie would probably disagree with me. So I'll stay a little healthier and not. Now I just want to spoon that out and eat it. All right, so we have the cheesecake is in the oven. We're still waiting on the pork to come to temperature. It's almost there. What do you have it set at for?
160.
No, that's too. That's overdone. I think it's probably done. So 160 is what they say is safe with your pork. I don't like it done that much. If you've been here, you know that. I think that it can get really dry and just not a good way to do it. So I am going to pull the pork out and start making the sauce for the pork. And then we can eat dinner while the cheesecake is going. And then I'll go get the other cheesecake that's actually finished. Hey, I did pretty good on time tonight. Because the cheesecake is going to be in the oven for, I forgot to set a timer. When did I put that in? Does anybody remember? No. All right. Hey, Google, set alarm for 40 minutes. So it's going to be in there. The cheesecake goes in for an hour. And then what happens is once you can see, when you're doing a cheesecake this way, you want the outside of it to start to look dry. But the inside is not going to look real dry, okay? And then what you do is you turn the oven off, crack it open. So there's still heat going in there, so it's still cooking some while it's in there. But it's starting to cool down. And then you take it out and you let it cool completely on the counter. And then you stick it into the into the refrigerator till it chills, which is around 6-7 hours. So, and we hope it's really good. The batter itself tastes really, really good for this. I'm going to pull some things here, and I need butter, but I need chilled butter. And this has been sitting out on the counter. So we'll get a different thing of butter out, and then I'm going to get the pork out. Or I'll let Robbie get the pork out, because he's the man. Because he's the man. So the sauce we're going to make is basically an apple cider butter sauce that's going to go over the pork and the veggies. So, yum. Now I'm going to put this over here so I get the amounts right, even though I only sort of pay attention to that. Look at that. That looks so good. I am done with the top oven, yes. So we're going to remove this, or as Alton says, we're going to evacuate these things. We're also going to take these little, all our sprigs of stuff out, and I already got rid of my trash thing. So let's get rid of those. And the thing, especially with thyme, is it'll drop a lot of its leaves into whatever you're making. Oops, there's another sprig. And if you weren't here earlier, what's in here is lots of garlic again, because this is a garlic forward night. And it also has carrots and celery and onions and apples, rosemary, and thyme. Did I miss anything? I think that's everything that was in there. Ooh, look. Can you see like the apple started to caramelize on the bottom? That's my favorite. Such good food when it caramelizes. And if you're not going to make it fancy on a plate like this, just make sure you let that roast rest for at least 5 minutes. I would say 10 to 15 minutes. And we pulled this out. It was at 139, I think, right? Did you look?
I got it for like 140.
40. Yeah. I would normally pull this out around 140-ish, maybe even a little less. It'll come up to temp a little bit more here. Oh, we'll set that there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the sauce here. This is very hot. So I'll use that. What I'm going to do is we've got a little bit of brown stuff in here, not a lot. We don't need a ton of this. We want about 2 tablespoons. That's 1, 2 tablespoons. Get yourself your wooden spoon. We'll make sure we scrape up any stuff, although I don't think there's going to be any on the bottom of this pan. I think it all came off while it was cooking in the oven because the apples got nice and juicy. And then we are going to add, I've got some apple cider here. I went to the grocery store the other day, and the grocery store I went to didn't have any apple cider. I was really shocked by that. So I am running out of measuring devices. We're going to put a cup of this in there. But we want that apple cider to reduce a little bit. Then we're going to put this in, so I need to maybe turn this up. Still drinking my caffeine. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks. You can come over and have some. There we go. Could you guys hear that? Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to move some of these over here. It looks uneven to me. Perfect. I think we've got that problem figured out now. So I'm letting this reduce a little bit, and then I'm going to stick this in and let it reduce a little bit, and then we're going to add some butter to it and mustard. That was the other thing I forgot to get out. Whole grain mustard. Mustard is really the trick to so many recipes. I have to say the screaming goat is one of my favorites. It really is. So that looks reduced down pretty good over here. So now I'm going to add the apple cider and let that reduce down. So apple cider vinegar, but only a couple of tablespoons because you don't want to, have so much of a vinegary taste, but you want a little bit of one. I know, look, whole grain mustard. Oh, the screaming goat sound, yeah, it is my favorite. We actually have the real screaming goat thing too. So it's missing an ear though. We're not really sure what happened to him. But he's not nearly as loud as the one that's coming through the computer. Come on. I know we've got, the cheesecakes in there. I'm going to be in the kitchen for a couple more hours after we're off the air, but it's fine. We didn't even have a cocktail tonight.
There was no time.
There's lots of time. You must have been busy. Robbie was busy. He didn't have time.
There's been stuff.
I'm kind of debating. We have those Kentucky Derby mint julep glasses that we got on our trip, and I really want to make a mint julep, but I know that Robbie will not probably drink more than a sip of one, even though it's sweet, but it's bourbon.
That sounds like Kentucky.
And Robbie is not a bourbon drinker.
I tried a couple of the ones you had in Kentucky.
You did. And his face was like this. He'd go, that's not too bad for bourbon.
And then I enjoyed my wine.
Yeah, he had wine. So I need somebody, if I go back to Kentucky and go bourbon tasting, I need somebody to go with me so that we can talk about the bourbon and I don't see this as I drink bourbon.
I was smiling. There we go.
I mean, sure. All right, finally. We're coming here, reduce. And then I want a couple of tablespoons of this butter, but we're going to turn the heat off before we add the mustard. We'll add the mustard. And then does it say, which way does it go? Reduce half, whisk in the mustard. Okay, that's what I thought. It's not in that order on the recipe, and I really prefer if they put the ingredients in the order that you're going to be using them on a recipe. I don't know about you guys, but it makes it so much easier when you're reading the recipe. Otherwise, you forget stuff, or I do. So.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that if I cooked more.
I'm sure. So is anybody else dressing up for Halloween this year? Does anybody have any, suggestions for Robbie and I? I mean, it's going to be whatever's left that we can find that is in our size and is cute. But just wondering if anybody else dresses up for Halloween.
So we had a couple ideas, but we'll see if that's available.
Yes. Yes, we did. So, we reduce down these things so that we get the really strong flavors of them. We get kind of the essence of the flavors. So that's what we're doing. We'll make sure we do cheesecake cam in the oven before we sign off tonight too, so you can see how it's doing in the oven. But yeah.
And that's going to be a first, cheesecake cam.
Cheesecake cam, it will be a first. We're getting better. We're getting better at stuff.
I can't believe Rocky's not in here with the pork out. Oh, there he is. So be ready. He might try to steal it now.
It's far enough, I think, on the table. Whoops, sorry, I took that
You're
out
good.
of your...
You're good.
It's good? Okay. I can't tell because my feed is 5 seconds behind. So that's why it looks like I have no idea what I'm doing sometimes. That's the excuse I'm using. Yes, it is.
You're letting it distract you?
Exactly. So we'll do a couple tablespoons of the mustard in here. We're going to whisk this in. That's a lot. Whole grain mustard for this. This whole grain mustard would have been really good on those pastrami tacos. But we had that pickled mustard. We had pickled mustard.
That's true.
So I still want this to reduce down a little bit. It's still a little watery for me. Let those mustard flavors get in there. Now I'm just babbling, aren't I? Again, my trainer kicked my butt today. All right. Thank you for being here, Flashbang. Thank you so much. And yeah, check Discord. I'll post pictures of the food. We'll remember to take pictures, and then you can check out what the cheesecake and everything ended up looking like. You know what? While we're waiting for this, Robbie can go get the other cheesecake. So,
That's why I keep waiting.
okay, perfect.
The other side here?
The other fridge has the cheesecake because I'm going to finish like garnishing that while we're waiting for this to reduce down a little bit. So I was trying today, all today, I'm going to have to keep practicing on this, on doing some pulled sugar or caramel to put on the top of the cheesecake because I thought that would be really cool, but it wasn't. It was ugly because it's the first time I've tried to do it. So I'll keep practicing and I'll get there. And let's see, this is the cajeta. Cajeta is okay to put on there. But I thought I would do this. I've got these ginger snaps that I did not make that I bought at Trader Joe's. And this looks really pretty, but it's not very practical to eat. So if you're serving it to people, you might want to slice it up and put it on there. In fact, we'll probably do that now that we have a picture. Here, you can put it right here on this dirty counter here.
Whoa. It's all good.
But that's what the finished cheesecake looked like. And I thought, you know what? We could do like little ginger snaps that way, or we could put them in like that around. Because it has ginger in it. But you don't have to do this. You can do whatever you want. You could put whipped cream on it. You could drizzle caramel on it. So whatever, and I kind of had these even, and now I don't. It's fine. Shh. See, and it wouldn't have been pretty if I had a pulled sugar thing I could put right there, presentation-wise. It'd be really pretty. It's still going to taste good. But there we go. And then I have some caramel. I know I've got some dulce de leche in here. Here we go. That's what I want. The dulce de leche. I'm not done yet. I think that cajeta's been in there for a while. If you remember when I was making that for another dessert. So I'm just going to use this dulce de leche. Probably needs to be warmed up a little bit, so maybe that won't work. Never mind. But it'd be really pretty to drizzle some caramel or something on there if you like it. I may put that on my cake. All right, that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off the heat. Robbie stole my thing. I just need one because I need to do this. I'm going to drop my butter in there and let it melt. And this will help prevent it from burning. It's plenty hot in there to melt all of that. I am going to have to slice that meat so that we can eat it. And so that we can eat it in front of you.
Someone has to do
Someone
it.
has to. Chocolate, I think, would be excellent on the cheesecake because, yeah, I think that would be an excellent choice. And like I said, I made a graham cracker crust, but you could also do I wouldn't do just ginger snaps because they're such a strong flavor, but you could do a mix of some ginger snaps in with your graham crackers when you're making the crust. That would be really yummy too. There's our sauce. And now I'm going to take this off and slice it. This is going to be a little messy, so I'm going to move my cheesecake for the minute or moment. Tim Tam crust. Is that what it's called? I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. I'm still learning. We can cut our meat like this. And look at all that meat juice. If you do this separately, I would totally just dump all of this meat juice that's in here and put that in my sauce as well. But as it is, we're going to pour the sauce over the top, so it'll all mix together. There we go. And, oh, yeah, you could totally do that. That would be good. I'm not familiar with that. And now I'm going to pour this, maybe. Robbie's over here like this. I don't know why. Is it because you're ready to take a picture? Look at this mess. He's like a lurker over here. I'll have to try Tim Tams because that sounds really good. I do want to get to Australia at some point. All right. So there's that. Now we need to make a plate of food. And Robbie and I often share a plate of food. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. But I want to clean my space up here. It's really messy. So you guys just have to wait while I clean up. Because I used to worry that I was taking too long. So now I'm like, no, I really need to take time to do that. So I could put this in a bowl and serve it that way. I'm going to do this with the puree. And who doesn't like a little extra Parmesan on it? We'll take a piece of meat. Oh, and this is where I could use the spoon that I just stuck over here. It's to pick up some of these lovely veggies. You got a picture of the plate, right?
Yes.
And then maybe a little more sauce. It's just me dancing in the kitchen, twirling around. Sorry you get to miss all the dancing back here. We'll put a little extra sauce on all of that. Would you like to try this?
Would I?
Here, I'll give you the clean fork. You've been waiting all day?
Let's try the food.
That's good.
Excellent.
And then apples. Yeah, thank you. See, I love pumpkin pie. He loves pumpkin pie. Is that your favorite pie?
Yes.
Pumpkin pie is his favorite, but he also loves cheesecake, so this was a perfect marriage of those two things.
It's like it's my birthday or something.
I do feel bad I wasn't here on his 40th birthday. What'd you think of the puree?
Mwah. Wait,
Mwah.
there's me up for that.
Yeah, that is good. I might make it not quite as puree-y, like maybe more mashed next time. But the flavor's really good. I like that. All right, cheesecake? You want to try some cheesecake? Robbie's all about dessert first, if he can convince me. Yeah?
Yeah.
He's like, I've had dinner. Time for cheesecake.
I had 2 bites. Time for dessert.
It's all good. Where are my pie things? There's one. So now I have to clean this off again because I made a mess again. And I don't have ice cream or anything for it. I was going to do some whipped cream, but then you would have had to do some dishes already and then do them again. All right, here we go, because I think it's done. It feels done. We're going to see if we can get that. The foil is still under there because I didn't get rid of the foil yet. So hopefully. Look at that. I kind of missed the little piece there, but oh, look at that. You ready to taste this?
Did you want a picture of the slice?
Sure. Although I can always cut another slice because I'm sure you're going to have a second one.
There's more?
So,
There's more?
all right, let's try this. My first time making pumpkin cheesecake.
Oh, yeah.
This is something to make again.
I'm having 2 slices of this tonight. So.
Joyce, do you want pumpkin cheesecake for Thanksgiving instead of just pumpkin pie? This is really good.
It really is my 2 favorites as one.
He says as he's just his arm is on the camera. Over there. Uh-oh. Great. Well, with dogs starting to not feel so well over here on this side, this was really good. So pumpkin cheesecake ulcer. I will do my best to get these recipes up on the social medias tomorrow, because I do have time tomorrow. As you can imagine, being on the road for 2 weeks, it's been a pretty busy week. But sounds good. So I've got the approval of your dad for pumpkin pie cheesecake.
Well, there you go.
So, and your mom says either sounds good. Maybe we'll do both. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a wild hair because, as you know, I never make enough food for Thanksgiving.
What?
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I know Robbie's going to be looking for somebody over here. You got someone? He's like this.
Who would you like to go to?
I don't know. Who's on? Yeah, I know. Joyce always walks away very hungry from... I did get that one, Elser. I got that you were trying to say watch. All right, where are we going?
Let's go to Pantry Elf. It's been a long time.
Okay, so we're going to go to Pantry Elf. This is a fellow DFW chef, and I know that she's got a crew of people, and they're working together to get a food truck, I believe, right? So that they can feed people and all that. So let's go, and thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it so much, and I'll be back on Sunday. All right, thank you so much, Claire, for being here. Thanks, Elser, for coming by. All right, bye.
Foreseeable future. Thank you.